Welcome back, everyone. My name's Ryan Selvy, and we're here on Digital Artifacts, the show where we take the the physical world and try to connect it properly with the physical world and digital world. So it's really good to have you here. Hello to Kendall and Keys, Clever, Oliver, as always. Thank you guys for being here, and anyone over on YouTube chat, it would be great to see you. So make sure you say hello in the chat, and we'll make sure to get you involved, and I'll read your questions and comments and everything that you've got going on. Thank you to Cody Bear for moderating this stream today, and we're going to be here for about the next hour or so. So if you have anything, please let me know. Say hello. And if you guys can, if you're even over on Behance, come say hello on YouTube. Because it helps with the recommendation algorithm over on YouTube and helps us get more views. So if you could say hi on YouTube, that'd be greatly appreciated. But if you're only on Behance, we also still love you. So with that being said, let's go ahead and hop right into what we're going to be working on today. I'm going to be working on some pictures that my nephews sent over to me, and we're going to do a little bit of bringing it in the digital space by bringing it into Photoshop and seeing how ways we can extract it. But then we're also going to be bringing them over into Illustrator to try out some generative shape fill. Thank you, Oliver, for saying hi on YouTube. Hey to Ray over in Behance. And then we'll also try to be animating them in After Effects. So we got plenty of stuff to work on today. And I'm excited to show you guys my little nephew's drawings. So let's hop on over. I have the just regular build of Photoshop open, and I have plenty of wonderful drawings for my nephews. I have 4 of them. I believe 3 of them submitted some pictures to draw and work with. So I think the very first one will be taking this cute little like bird of sorts and maybe finding ways to make it feel a little better scanned, because as a picture, you can see the back of it bleeding through, and I want to try to get rid of that and just isolate it to be the, baseball playing penguin guy that it is. Hey, Kendall and Clever over on YouTube. Good to see you. Good to see you. Does anybody here have nephews or children that they have drawings of as well that they tend to have hanging up, or want to find ways? I like how in this it says he is 5, which was written by my 5-year-old nephew. So I like he just is trying to find friends that are the same age as him. So he's like, this thing that I'm drawing is also going to be 5 years old. So one easy way that we could do is the wand tool. But even before we do that, I want to go ahead and open up the raw filter. And what that's going to let us do is it's going to let us do some of the skewing, because since it's taking on such an angle, we want to make sure that we are getting the proper spots. So I'm going to go over, do open and filter, camera raw, and then we're going to go over to geometry. And then in geometry, as you can see, as I'm hovering over this tool, if I'm clicking it and saying the lines that are supposed to be vertical and horizontal, it'll do all the math for me. So let's look. This is the bottom of the paper, and I'm going to click and drag. And as long as I stay along that path, it's going to understand what I'm doing. So I'm going to click and stay across the line. And then we're also going to go in here and go like this and go like that. And we can see that it's a pretty dramatic skewing, but it seems like maybe the drawing itself was pretty skewed when it had the picture taken. So this just helps us get it into a better place. So I'm going to press OK. You'll see that it's adjusted, and this is hypothetically closer to what it might look like in real life, which I did not take this picture. My sister took this picture, so who's to say? So then the first thing we're going to do is there's a few different ways we can pull this out. We could always mask it out by selecting it. We could always use the object selection tool. There's plenty of ways that we can do this. So I'm just going to draw a little selection around here, and it does pretty well. And then, if you mask that, we can see kind of how it looks. Now we could also do some color adjustments too here. Since this is a white piece of paper, we know that we can always go to our levels and click this little eyedropper tool that is white, and we'll be able to say this is supposed to be white, and automatically that's already actually going to take out the exact kind of white and pull it forward. But we can also see that it's really pushing these yellows, and so maybe we want to just dial it down just a little bit That way we don't lose it and have any clipping. So you just drag around these sliders to a place that feels a little bit more comfortable. And if it ever gets too crazy, you can always just go back and get rid of it, or even take the adjustment layer and just bring down the opacity. So let's get to a place that we like. I like that. That seems pretty cute. So then what I want to do is I want to pull everything out from here. I'm going to get rid of the HS5. I'm going to get rid of this little area as well. I just kind of want the main pieces. Clever says he just wants to ask you something, which is cute. Got some puns in the chat. Thank you. But what is everybody else working on today? What is going on? When did everybody start drawing? Also, has anyone ever heard of Pappy Druitt? Let me know in the chat if you've heard of Pappy Druitt. Pappy Druitt was this children's show that I watched a lot when I was my nephew's age. And it essentially was a Blue's Clues kind of style show, but you found things and then you drew them at the end of the show, and it taught you how to draw. And my sister actually would get really mad at me because I was younger than her and I was better at drawing than her. And so she'd watch it with me and try to compete with me and draw with me. But I've always just been the artist of the family, so mine always came out nicer. And I remember my parents took my drawing and put it as their wallpaper on their computer, and my sister was really upset. So, you know, sometimes you just have a calling. I'm not the best drawer now, but I still like to draw. I still enjoy it. Also, I love that my nephew's getting into baseball. His dad's really into baseball, and it's just really always nice to see common interest. Now, you'll see that my tolerance is at 32 for the wand selector, but if we increase it to maybe something like 50, it might be a little bit more forgiving about grabbing those extra parts. So with everything selected, I'm just going to go ahead and hit the mask. Now, if there's any spots where like maybe it feels like it's too thin or something, what we can also always do is we can double click into this masked area. And there's actually a shift edge button, and you can either like grow that or decrease it. And in this case, I want to grow it, so it's going to be plus 100, and then that's just going to get us a little bit more space. I'm going to say OK. And you can see that, yeah, like if we're switching this levels on and off, you can see like earlier that looked really yellow, but now it looks very muddy if we don't have it on. So just, you know, context and color theory, your background image is always going to be impacting your content as well. It's something to always remember. So Oliver says, not working on anything right now, watching you on here and the Paralympics opening ceremony on TV. Ooh, what is on the opening ceremony? Is it pretty cool? Are they doing it all in the water, just like the other Olympics that just happened? I thought that was an interesting choice. I wonder where I would host the Olympics if I was in charge of the Olympics, and what my opening ceremony would be. Because everyone knows I'd be hosting it. There's no way that I would be in it because I am not good at any sports. I was a theater and art kid, if that wasn't entirely clear. Clever wants to watch a Ryan and sister have a drawing contest. I would see if I could get them to sign up for it. They would barely do it with me when I was just doing crafts and just being like, it's not a competition, guys. We just want to hang out and have fun. And they were like, no. But I definitely suggest getting kids into art of any kind, even if they end up not doing anything art related. Like just getting in there and making, I don't know, some sort of creative flex of a muscle in there, because any job now, no matter if you're in accounting or, you know, something that is stereotypically not artistic, like so many jobs are now requiring the whole team to be involved in the creative process. It's good to get that nice and early so that you can find ways to stay creative. Now what I just did is I just highlighted everything and did generative fill because I just want to get rid of some of the see-through stuff, and you can see it does a really good job. As with any time you have anything with generative fill, you have a few different options. I'm going to go ahead and go to the second one here. There we go. It looks a little bit it looks a little bit better. Now, it is, of course, going to be a wonderful combination. Actually, I'm going to press Control J and then Control E, just because I don't want to have anything destructive here. So we'll put this into a folder and hide it. Hide it away, hide it away, hide it away now. Key says, not the best drawer. That is subjective. Depends on the type of furniture you consider yourself to be. Yeah, I remember somebody on a date years ago made fun of me for that, especially also how I say drawing. They're like, there's no L in drawing. And I'm like, I'm not saying an L. Do you hear an L? And they're like, you're saying drawing, not drawing. I'm like, well, I'm not a baby. I'm not going to say drawing. That's neither here nor there. I'm going to hear about this on the show notes. Keep it on topic. Cody, what are you working on today? I'm your last of the day, right? So you've got a whole day ahead of you after this. If you guys are not familiar, Cody is a wonderful illustrator, but she also is not just a moderator here. She's also got a cool gig going on, which I don't want to speak on her behalf. So I'll let her share it if she wants to share it. But what I'm doing right here is I'm just kind of cleaning up some of the color inconsistencies by using this thing called the dodge tool. And the dodge tool lets you focus on different things. You have dodge to kind of highlight things, burn to kind of darken things, and then you can always change what you want it to affect. So I'm saying the midtones. And I'm just clicking and dragging and cleaning up some of these spots that feel a little off the color that it's supposed to be. I'm going to do the same thing over here also with said bat, because there's a little bit of shadowing, mostly from the photograph. So, always good to have. Cody is playing Baldur's Gate. Oh, that is a good plan for the rest of the night. I have avoided Baldur's Gate because I personally know that it will suck up my time, and I am not about to do that because I have plenty to do. And there's already enough games that I can play for like a half an hour. If I were to play Baldur's Gate, I have a feeling like it would just become my life entirely. So, all right. I also have to make sure that I spend my time accordingly here, because I don't want to give one nephew too much attention over another nephew, because everybody knows that's not going to end well for anybody involved, parents, kids, across the board. So this is Colby's drawing. Looks really good. We're going to come back and animate it in just a little bit, but I want to make sure that we hop into some other stuff too. So let's go grab one of Hey More Galore. You're new here. Well, welcome to it. It's great to have you. My name's Ryan. I'm a motion designer and illustrator, and I'm working on my nephew's drawings right now to find ways to animate them and bring them to life and just find a way to digitize them in any way. What kind of work do you like to work on more? Do you go by more? How would you like to be responded to? And Keys is also watching the Paralympics opening ceremony on silent. More, you'll notice that I am talking to two different chats. I'm really happy that you're over here on YouTube. It's good for discovery. But if you hear me referring to everybody else and you don't see the chats, that's also over on Behance as well. But I'm super happy to have you here over on YouTube. Now, let's see. You guys will get to see a picture of my little nephew here, little cutie patootie. And him showing his drawing. This is Callum, and he drew his owl, which is always really nice to see. And of course, I don't even know what this is down here. I don't know the kids shows as much as I should. But he went and he sent me this owl. He's proud of it. I thought it was really good. I think he was fixing this wing, I think, unless he was adding to it. I'm not entirely sure. But I think I'm going to go ahead and switch it so that it is just one wing. And one thing that I also wanted to try out with this one in particular is actually before we even kind of, cancel it out or whatever, I wanted to see what it would look like if we use Generative Fill with this over in the beta. So if you're not familiar, in Adobe's Illustrator beta right now, which is public to you if you go to the Creative Cloud, you can actually create some shapes, and you can then tell Illustrator to fill it in with a prompt. And I wanted to see what this would look like if I were to draw the whole thing and then say generative shape fill this into a yellow owl. So we're just going to take our time real quick, and we're going to just do a little outline here. I'm sure you could also probably do live trace, and that would have its own results, but I want to make sure that the stroke itself is just one stroke and not like a shape-filled stroke, because I want it to understand that it is the outline of said owl. And I'm going to try to be as true as I can to his drawing, because if we just did the other way, then it's just going to give us a, you know, the regular owl. But I like the shape of it, and I like that he's focusing. I'm correcting his work as long as it's not getting too far into his head. You know what I mean? Photoshop is such a fun system. One of my favorites. Illustrator is good for art, like you said, with a cute little emoji. Oh, that's not an emoji. That's a ASCII. How do you say ASCII? Like the old text little emotes. Is it acai? Like an acai? I'm not sure. Clever says, all I need to know is Bluey. Yes, Bluey is quite the show. Did you know that on Disney Plus, Bluey is, I think, like 27% of all streaming on Disney Plus? I'm like, that is absolutely insane. It's absolutely insane. Hopefully they're getting their coin. They're getting their money. Can you only use the generative fill in the beta version? Right now, the generative fill for just like using AI to just make images out of nothing is available in the public build, but the new shape fill, which is what we're about to use, is currently only in beta. One day it'll go to public, but right now it is only in the beta version. But the beta version is available in Creative Cloud. If you just go to your apps and then you just click the little icon that says beta, then anyone that has access to Creative Cloud has access to said creation. So we'll go like that. Then we'll do his little beak. I love that he did 2 lines for his beak. It's just cool to see kids have some understanding of like recreating stuff, you know? Like, I don't know. Makes me proud. I'm a proud uncle. Kind of says, I'd personally use the Cintiq brush tool at this point. Doing with the pen tool brings me back to middle school trackpad memories. That is very true. The thing is, I'm controlling the stream from my Cintiq. So we'd have to juggle around a bunch of different screen shares. But who knows? Maybe actually when we hop into this anyway, I'll end up going into Photoshop and tracing it with like a brush or something. But there we go. So I'm going to highlight everything. And then just click on the regular arrow, which is with V. And then you can see that we have Gen Shape Fill Beta. And if I click this, I can say yellow owl. And then we'll hit generate. And we are subject to what the computer overlords tell us this is going to look like. And Oliver says it's AC. AC is how you say it? Kelly is saying, in my experience, AC is pronounced ASCII. Oh, different. All right. So this is kind of fun. It looks like it understood his big circles here to be like the white part of an owl. But all that said, it is interesting to see how it's able to kind of make sense of the one being bigger than the other as far as wings. And I don't know. I think it's pretty good. I think that one's probably the closest one. But I think if I were to show it to him, he would be like, that's not my owl. But just to show like a portion of the tool, it's really cool to be able to see that. You can also do refinements if you want to. You can do like the shape strength, and we can be like, the shape strength is really high, in detail is a little bit lower, and then we hit generate, and then you're kind of like, no, I gave you exact things. More Gloria saying, did you know that the colors are the types of the dogs can see too? Do you also know the colors are the types that dogs can see too? What do you mean by that? Curious. Oh, look at that. Look at that. That's actually pretty good. That's actually pretty good. Thank you, Generative Fill. That's fun. That looks a little bit closer to his. TBD, you know, TBD. And then the very last one would be Riker, who drew a cute little train. And just to show you guys reference here, this is Riker, and it looks like, or it's a bus. I probably should have asked, but I'm assuming these are wheels of some sort, and it looks like somebody is either home or being left behind, missed their bus or something. So I was thinking we could probably bring these wheels into After Effects and just make them rotate. Simple enough, right? So I'm going to go ahead and grab his drawing, and we'll do the same thing with the skewing, and then we can separate out some stuff. So image rotation, counterclockwise, and then as we did last time, we're going to go into the camera raw filter, and we're going to use our dimension tool. It's the Mad Max train. You guys want to know a secret? I have still not seen the Mad Max. Oh, Bluey, apparently the colors are colors that dogs can see. That is a really fun design choice, and like just like clever, and it just seems like such a smart show. But no, I did not know that. How'd you learn that? By the way, that's coming from More Galore over on YouTube. I love this tool. This geometry tool is so nice. I'm going to say okay for that. Ta-da. And then we can do the same thing where we just have a really high tolerance here. So it's actually going to do most of the work for us. But you can see that it then runs into the side of the page. But all we have to do is just go in, and I'm just pressing Control and Delete. And with Control and Delete, it's just masking out that area so that we don't even have to mess with it. And we can do the same thing as we did with the other one, though, where we can double-click into the masked area and shift the edge to be a little bit bigger. We can even feather it if we want to, especially on Riker, since his tends to have a little bit of bleed here. It helps those edges so that it can be a little bit smoother. With the smooth, that's not so much one that would work with this situation, but I think it's works pretty good like this. All right, so now we have our guy here. We have our train, and then I want to go ahead and I'm just going to grab this guy, and maybe for his. We don't necessarily use the Generative Fill, but I am inspired by it. So we already kind of did the outline, right? So let's take that opportunity. And I just want to kind of reference his little guy and make sure that it is properly done. So we're going to make this a yellow. I can also smoothen out the edges if I'd like. The thing that's tough here is that his beak is yellow on white. And also it's one of those things, like how much do you correct when you're working on a kid's drawing? Because at the end of the day, they don't want to be like, I didn't draw that. But at the same time, you do want to update the parts that you can update. So bring this down a little bit. I wish everyone was still as creative as there was when they were a kid. There's no shame. People don't draw things and go oh, that's dumb, until they're maybe in third grade. And then you're like, why do you have to hate yourself? Just enjoy the thing that you created, I don't know. I guess it's a bigger society thing. More Galore says, my little cousin was watching it at my house, and my dog just sat down and started watching it too, and I looked up, and that's how I found it out. That's amazing. It's also interesting how some dogs, are not aware of TV, and other ones, will watch it all day. And I know my cat will watch it if I put, birds on the TV. He's, clocked in. Also, if we watch, Game of Thrones, for whatever reason, he also really likes Game of Thrones. Kendall says, I use that and the ruler tool, and it helps so much. But the last time I used it to add a mural example to the wall. Oh, it's not Tweety Bird, though. It's not Tweety Pie. Oh my gosh, Keys referenced to Line Rider for Riker's drawing. That's nuts. I haven't thought about Line Rider in such a long time. They should have Line Rider on iPad. Do they have that? They really should, right? I thought a Putty Cat. What does Tweety Bird even look like? I don't. Big head. Oops. Let's see here. Tweety Bird. Tweety Bird has blue eyes. And big, big orange feet. And this guy does not have any. He has all yellow feet. Everything on this bird is yellow. Why is it like that? So. I'll switch that out to here. The thing is, do I make it the same color as the outline of the eyes? Perhaps. I'm going to click these two and hold down S. Because it kind of like runs into it, but I guess we could always just go like this. Pressing. Selecting both of them. And we're going to curve out these sides. I'm also going to click this, right click and say simplify. And it's going to smooth it out just a little bit for me. You can also always go here and you can kind of identify how much you want to simplify it by. So maybe in this case it's like there. I don't know. Line Rider is on the App Store. So just so you know. Good to know. Also, like, I don't know how much I should also simplify these / make them the same, you know? Because I don't want to upset him. We'll just do it like that. And then finally, we're going to switch these to be the little yellow feet that he has. Although, honestly, he's way more orange in this picture than he is yellow. So maybe we make the feet and the beak yellow. And this needs to be a little bit more yellow in nature, but mostly orange. Oops. And then we need to bring this guy. G. Oops. And we'll go like this or that, right? Look at that there. Oliver, Roscoe should be banished here in Iceland at the ice wall. What? You trying to banish my cat because he likes Game of Thrones? Because Oliver says the cat is planning to overthrow me. Is that where is Iceland where they film The Wall? I didn't know that. I mean, that makes sense, right? All right. He looks good. And then, what do we got here? I want to take this Mad Max of a train and make sure that it's all properly cut out. So I'm just going to go into my eraser tool and do some destructive stuff here. Now we'll say that the brush that I'm using for eraser is a little crazy. So I'm going to bring up the smoothing just a little bit so that since I'm using my mouse, it smooths out just so slightly. And I'm using the brackets to increase and decrease the size here. The thing is, we can also use this line work that I'm erasing right now to supplement the area underneath the wheels that we're about to cut out. And that's why I duplicated everything over on the side, because I want to be able to reference stuff. So we can use the new selection brush tool. And with that, we can just highlight what we want to select like that. And then bring it into our selection. I'm going to press Control X, Control Shift V, and we're going to say how many wheels are on the bus that go round and round? 1, 2, 3, 4. All right. So we're going to call this the 4th wheel. So much for productivity. I am happy to be hurting your productivity. Don't tell your boss. You can also tell him that you're learning things right now. Also, Kendall, that ADHD meme that you sent me was really funny. I don't know if I responded to it because I might have gotten distracted. Control Shift V. All right. Select this guy a little bit more. Highlight, highlight, highlight. Now, the craziness that is the shape of these ovals is going to make it a little bit weird to rotate them, but I have faith we'll find an interesting way to do it. And then finally, one last wheel. We use the selection tool brush. Oops. I mean, the beauty of the brush is I didn't have to undo that. I could always just do a subtraction. But some old habits just, die hard. Not die hard. Max Fury Road. All right. So now we've got the first wheel, the second wheel, the third wheel, and the fourth wheel. As far as I know, the ice wall is CGI with some practical sets. There are a few things filmed in Iceland, but very few featuring ice, mostly barren landscapes we have. Oh, how flattering. Thank you for tuning in from Sweden, Robert. Always lovely to have you. Thanks for being here. Make the bus go up and down as the oval wheels go round. Absolutely. That's the plan. Then we're just going to finish cleaning this up. And what we're actually going to do is what I said earlier. We're going to steal the line secretly from somewhere else in the image. So we can use something like this. Or we could also even use Generative Fill. Should we try Generative Fill maybe? Because Generative Fill will also... You guys haven't noticed, I love Generative Fill. It has made my work so much easier in life. So all we have to do is go to the polygon lasso tool. I'm going to just select everything. You guys can see that Pixie Pew is playing Dead by Daylight. You can see that clearly she is not doing her animation live streams right now. So I selected all that, but you're like, oh, but it's going to cover up this area. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down Control and Alt and click the actual spot, and it will get rid of everything that's already there. Then I'm going to press Select, Modify, Expand. We're going to say like 2 pixels maybe, and then now we'll do Generative Fill, and then that way it should do some overlap between the two. Now, okay, so we see our first option has a little bit of ink, but this one actually does a lot better at what we're looking for. So let's actually go with this one, and we'll do a before and after. I think that we can just merge these together and then use an old tool, the clone stamp tool, to bring up the side, and then hold down Alt. And I'm just going to color in this area to then round it out. All right. Look at that. Oh, did I accidentally cut off the edge here? Why would I do a thing like that? All right. So since we have that saved area, I can just copy and paste it. All right. And then go to the eraser tool and bring it around. All right. Like a bus. You're so funny. All right, and then we can add all of our stuff back. We have our wheels. We're going to call this bus train or whatever it is. Our full thing, we want to make sure it doesn't have any of this. So we're going to highlight all of it and put a mask, but then we're going to invert that mask. And then I'm going to hold down Alt and click the eyeball. And when I do that, it's going to only show that one, which is always kind of an easier way to be able to identify what is not seen. Now you'll see that there is being some lag when I'm moving around. That's because my smoothing was so high up. So if you notice that and you're like, why is my brush being so like laggy? A lot of times it's because it's just trying to do favors for you, and you know, you're just being ungrateful. I'm going to do the same thing here, where maybe we just try to create a continuous line, and we're going to see what this looks like. So before I do that, I always like to just try to be as non-destructive as possible. I'm going to duplicate the layer, but I'm also going to flatten it out so that it knows to only focus on this. It helps to have the white background because sometimes it gets a little confused. But doing that makes me realize that it still has a small outline of this. So we want to get rid of any information and distraction that we don't want Generative Fill to pull up on. So let's do this, and then we'll do Generative Fill. And hopefully, fingers crossed, it figures out what we're talking about. Alt eyeball always works well, but also throws me off because I am queen of making more layers, and then I have to turn them all back on because I forgot. Yeah, right? Because I'll like do like a singular one that I then am responsible to. And then what I might even actually do here is we could expand the image with the canvas size, pressing the top right here, and just say maybe make this like 8,000, and maybe like this is like what, 10,000. That's a huge one, but you'll see it filled it with the front color that we had rather than white because we had black in the front. And we could use an old tool for this guy. Oh, thank you for the hearts. I appreciate the hearts over on YouTube. It's nice to have the engagement. Now I'm going to go here. I'm going to rotate, if you will. You guys are like, we won't. Thank you. We won't rotate. Then we'll do a marquee selection, and old school, we can do some content aware scalies. Hold down shift. Oops. And then just bring it on out like that. And we'll rotate this again when we are back in After Effects. So this will be his little road. And then I want to separate this entirely, actually. And have that be his own little hero here. And we'll just say, train guy. All right, we got about 15 minutes left. So we should probably hop into the animation phase of things, shouldn't we? And we'll call this guy. And we'll call this road. Bus train, first wheel, second wheel, third wheel, fourth wheel. All right, do we have everything that we need? I believe we do. I also like to just have this to be reference hill. And then we'll just put everything else in a folder and hide it. Because theoretically, I could always come back later in life. All right, image crop. And it's looking pretty good. So Control Shift S. Then I'm going to be a bad person and just save it on my desktop. Do as I say, not as I do. I'll say doodle work. And we'll call this Riker's image. Then we got to make sure that we isolate Colby's real quick. And we can make him blink, which will be really easy, which will be nice. But in order to do that, we should probably isolate the eyes real quick. Do this as fast as we can. The pupils can come out. I've recently switched out my keyboard shortcuts, and it's throwing me off. All right, say left pupil, right pupil, and then we want to grab these lids. I want to make sure I have sample all layers selected. And we can do the same thing here, actually, with the idea that we're going to have to do a generative or content-aware scale. All right. We'll say edit content-aware scale, holding down Shift so it doesn't do anything. And we're going to make it nice and wide. That way it can fit within the thing. Say right lid. I'll call this one left lid. Edit content-aware scale. Same thing. Hold down Shift. Boom. All right. And then let's just do his bat. I'm holding down. Oh, really? That tolerance really is low, isn't it? What you can also do is you can right click and do collect similar. I'm going to highlight this. Get rid of this guy. Looks like we have some extra stragglers. Call this bat. Betty, 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 bet. I'm going to alt click it again just so that we can see where we're working. And I'm just going to use the clone tool here or stamp tool to fill out that bat. And then I'll alt click it again and brings everything back. Select, modify, expand 15 pixels. Control X. It's empty because it's not on that layer. So press Control X, Control V. Why not you? Why not, sir? All right, Control Shift V, and we'll call this ball. Call this main. All right, cool. We have everything that we need, and we're just gonna be quick little animators. For art, like drawings and whatnot, would you prefer Photoshop or Illustrator? It depends on what it is. For vectors and stuff, I'm always in Illustrator. A lot of times when I'm animating, I'm in Illustrator. But if I'm drawing, I'm always normally in Photoshop. I used to be a drawing person in Illustrator. But at some point, I switched over to Photoshop because I like the brushes more. And I need to switch back to because just like vectors are really nice. But TBD, you know, look away. All right, so we'll do some Colby art. We're gonna say it's a composition, retain layer sizes, merge layers into style footage. It should open it. And what are we gonna do here? Like I said, we're gonna take these pupils and we'll probably hide them underneath whatever is being shown here. What we should do is we should do very quickly a little like drawing around this. Oh, but that's a group. We don't want to do that on the group. We want to do it as a shape layer. So I will click. I'll make sure that we don't have any of our layers selected. And then we're going to make and what this does is this makes it so that the eyelids, when they blink, stay in this area. So we're going to call this right eye matte. Well, actually, just make them both. We can just say eye matte. And then we're going to still use this. We're going to make sure that it's still highlighted as a shape and not a mask. And you're like, but I thought it was a mask. Well, we're going to use it as a layer situation rather than that. All right, cool. So we have the eye matte. We're going to take our lids here, and we're going to make sure that the track matte is to the eye matte. And then we'll actually take the two of these, and we'll create a new null. And with that null object, which is down here, I'm going to just put it in between the eyes. And then I'm going to take these two, and I'm going to take the parent link over here and attach it to the null. And then that way we can bring it up and down. Just by the nature of the of where it's at, they are different levels, but that shouldn't be a problem. So we'll just go to position, and we'll drag it down. Matte mask life is right. And then we'll bring back up. And you're like, but Ryan, the pupils are still visible. I know. I'm holding down Alt and then selecting all of them, holding down Alt and then bringing them to the side, by the way. And just for the time's sake, we'll just do easy ease. We can mess with curves later, but and I say that and then immediately I'm like, that doesn't look right. So what we'll actually do is we're going to click this guy, and I want it to be you're fast and slow, or slow up and fast. Yes, okay. So you want it to be, yeah, that looks better, right? That looks more like a thing. Also, guess like this. Yeah, that's way better. And so what are we going to do about those pupils? I'll tell you what we're going to do about those pupils. We are going to make a big old square that hides them. Is that big enough to cover? No, probably not. I'm going to make a big old square like this. And I'm going to take that, and I'm going to actually also pick up it to the null. Now, what that's doing is it's saying that it's going to follow said null. So it's like that. And what we're going to say is we're going to have both the eyes, which are the pupils. We're going to say for the track matte, they need to be track matte to said blacked image. But we want to invert them so that they're visible whenever they're not there. So we'll just say, we'll call this like eye hider, you know? And then now, looks a bit better, right? He blinks. And then what we can do for the bat is we're going to move the anchor point by pressing Y and clicking over there. I'm going to put it behind here. And then we will just do a little rotation. And then we can actually go to our effects and put a wiggle modifier on here. Wiggle loop. And we can actually just apply it to said rotation mark, I believe. Or maybe not. Wiggle rotation. Ooh. But it wants me to move my anchor point. This is the anchor point. All right. And then we can move that anchor point down here. I don't know if I love it. So what we might do instead, actually, is just use a good old expression, which is what I normally do. And I was trying to be forward, but we'll do wiggle. And we're going to say we want it to move 5 times a second, or how about 1 time a second, and we want it to move 5 pixels. So then it adds into this little thing. We can make it a little bit more frequent if we want it to be faster, and maybe we want to make it like a little bit more of a back forth. And then maybe we just make this bounce up and down or something. But look at that. We could also loop this out. And I'm actually going to go here and just do loop. So that's fun. And then we'll quickly, well, we should save your work, everybody. We should go into our desktop and doodle work. I'll call this doodle work. Like I said, don't save it on your desktop. Don't do as I do. I will move it after the stream. I promise. Wink. Composition, retain layer styles, merge into footage. And so what I want to do here is I want to pre-compose the bus and all of its wheels. And we'll call this bus. Turn on our little transparencies. I'm going to actually apply a null to these and then just rotate that null. But ideally, you know, it's like there. All right, cool. Delete the null because it's fine now. And for all of these guys, we can then do a rotation. And I'm going to say have it move once. But it'll have to be negative, actually, because it should be going the other direction, right? And then what you can do is you can do Alt, and you can say loop out, and what is it? Continue, which then just means that it will continue to go forward. And you'll see that one in particular just continues to go. So what you can do is you can go here and you can do copy expression only. And then if you select all these, you can Control V on top of them. Now they will all continue to move. And then I wanted to have them move a little bit faster. So we'll just bring in the keyframes. Hey, Shreya, what's going on? Now you'll see that they all are rotating on their own axis of whatever, you know, the anchor point is. So it might be helpful in this case to actually move these around a little bit. Like this. That way they're all at least on. And that's just my computer buffering. Like that. You can always move the anchor point. And then what we can do for the bus itself is we can say position. And we can like maybe bring it up. We could also even do a wiggle for this one, honestly. But for that, we're going to probably want to do separate dimensions because we don't want it to go to the left and right. We only want it to go on the X position, which I always love saying X position. And I'll click that, and we'll do wiggle, and we'll do something like 5, 5, and see how that looks, right? Nope. We'll do 15, 15. Let's see if that looks better. It might look too chaotic. No, it looks better, honestly. And then we'll be able to take said thing, and we can then keyframe that position to go down like this. We'll make sure it stays on the road, right? And so then it's moving. And then if we want to, we can actually even pre-compose the road and the bus. And we'll just say driving bus. And then I'll rotate that like that. And bring it back, right? And we'll have to fix out that road a little bit more, but it goes off the screen. Reference hill, we can actually get rid of entirely, I think. We can just go like here. And look, he drives away. Goodbye. And that just puts us just about time. Thank you guys so much. Really means to have that here. I don't know when the next digital artifacts we will be doing will be because File New is coming back for season 3, which I'm very excited about. But I'll give you guys more updates about that. Thank you to everyone that tuned in. Thank you to Keys, Kendall, Apurva, Oliver, More Galore, Kelly Peterson, Cody Bear, all the above. Thank you guys so much. And I'll let you guys know next steps and updates, follow me on Instagram or Blue Sky, Ryan Selvy on Instagram, and ryanselvy.com on Blue Sky. Take care, guys. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.